I do have something to say, or I thought I did, but I'm tired. This can be another stub, an outline, a memo. I want to talk about me not using social media correctly, me not staying up to date on notifications anywhere except the Fediverse, which is non-commercial. And so I think about like I have messages and stuff waiting for me from nice people on Instagram, and I won't look at them. And it's like it's not the people's fault that Instagram is terrible, but come on, yeah. I don't know. I thought it would be fun to put something on since I was watching TV before I started this. So the projector was on. So I found a painting video I made years ago. Like 2 years ago, probably. So I was thinking about well, it's related to the medium is the message. So if I interact with people on commercial social media, there's a pattern or I mean, well, number one, our interaction is being like monetized by some big asshole company, and it's completely different than when like telecommunications companies, because all of the like invasive losses of privacy that we've agreed to in order to use these services, every single one of them has been agreed to by a click of a terms of service that was not read. It's all been a wool over your eyes deception. Ooh, color's so pretty. You can't see it on the phone. Maybe that screen would. Whoa. The phone just can't handle it. Maybe someday I'll have a nicer camera. Probably not. Oh, yeah. So, because, like I'm supposed to monetize my behaviors, then I could have a nicer camera, right? Then I could interact with more people on social media, but I wouldn't be able to be myself. So I'm getting at a bunch of different things, but on the one hand, if we sign over, if we allow harmful for-profit mega corporations to be the sole intermediaries of our like fun sharing online media social interactions, that is dehumanized. It's eroding society just by the nature of having them as the intermediary. You know, regardless of, I mean, it's worse on top of that, but just by its very nature, it's already tainted. It's already, I want to say trumped. Could we just make could we change the definition of the word Trump to mean fucked? And I mean in a bad way, non-consensually, and not sexually. Phew, God. Ugh. Abused is what I mean. Oh, and I had those sitting out at the same time so I could like make additions to. That's like thoughtful. Of course, it doesn't matter because of all of that you're seeing on screen, I've probably sold one of them. So I don't make a living because I don't do what the market tells me to do. So I don't deserve to live. But yeah, that's what I'm getting at. And so it doesn't. So yeah, I'm an extremist in the sense that I put thought and feeling into all this that a lot of, normal functional people would just shrug off and be like, well, whatever, you gotta just, why would you give up good times? Well, for me, and I don't know, you can call it mental illness, being an artist, creative, caring about others, something about the pandemic. I don't enjoy socializing in a way that's just surface. All the escapist stuff that people seem to do in order to just get by, I started to find myself more and more retreating inside my brain and being one person on the outside, two people just talking. And like that, or I'm just quiet. But if I'm saying anything at all, it's like fake. And then there's a core me on the inside going, oh my God, how can I get out of here? And and that's led to me like hardly ever leaving the house. And, and it goes along with being this kind of artist. Like this is everything to me. I don't need to hear about people talking about the latest thing they've purchased, which is what a lot of people do when they hang out together. Now, keep in mind, whenever I try to generalize what a lot of people do, I basically mean the society I was born into, which is white, upper middle class Americans. So all I know, in my opinion, all I know is empty, meaningless, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of talk about love and caring and come over and I'll do anything and whatever, but I just don't see it happening. Let me give you some examples. Okay. Like if you're close friends with somebody, would you consider going to hang out with them and not saying anything? Like, would you just go and like sit in the same room with them or in the same building as them, whether they feel great or not, just because you care and you want to be like near them? I would say most people no, except for your spouses or your like dying family members. You're not going to go and just be a presence in somebody's life. So, and I'll bump it up even more. So like if you care about somebody, would you go be with them even if they're non-communicative, they're not in the mood to socialize, and yet you're with them? I know it doesn't make any sense. Would you fly across the country to be with them for a few days and not say anything? No, I guess I'm being crazy, but socializing to me is a requirement to be current, yes. A, oh, B, maybe B, B. Oh, current. Oh, those are three choices: current, A, or B. Um, Knowing me, when I saved the image files, I probably used a C, A, B, and C. um, so obviously, when I ask these questions, I'm motivated by me because I am not doing well, and I have this pain, and I've got a lot of problems. And sometimes people reach out to me, but the only person who I have felt safe to be around was my boyfriend, but even he got sick of it because I'm not entertaining, I'm not fun, I'm not nice to be around, and I'm not going to improve quickly. So I'm really afraid when people reach out because I think I don't know you well enough to be, maybe I haven't showered. Um, I mean, I'm at like my worst. So I'm not saying this is the. I think it's too bright. This is the. I guess I'm gonna say I'm like at a very low point, so I don't consider the way I'm feeling to be the typical way to be human. But I think I make a pretty good point about the fact that there's an expectation required to be social. And that is not 100% true to your nature. And I suppose some, if not most, if not almost all people would say that that's good or required in order for human beings to coexist. I don't know. But it feels to me, from, again, white, upper middle class, American, conservative, Southern, religious, from my background, it feels like a big cause of why society doesn't improve is that no one is really being real around each other, that they're requiring certain customs to be followed in order to even be in each other's presence. Which is why I was asking, if you care about someone, would you do whatever it takes to go hang out with them, even if they smelled bad and didn't want to talk to you? Or didn't want to talk. It's not specifically to you. But maybe it is. I mean, I don't know, but I just think most people don't pursue relationships that way. Of course. And that's the reason I don't check my messages, my notifications. It kind of is. I mean, I could go through individual friends and think, okay, I'm thinking of a certain person. Well, when I socialize with that person, I feel that I have to behave a certain way within certain parameters. And they are not available to me right now, or I'm not interested in them. So I won't see that person, which is fine and normal, I guess. We just sort of slot people into certain categories. But I don't consider it the same as being a really good friend. Oh, obviously, if the conditions of this communication don't already make it clear, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know. But I do know that I don't reply to most messages, and I ignore almost all notifications on for-profit platforms. If you want to reach me, go to the Fediverse. But and one of the reasons for that is that spam messages travel on the same networks. So like I don't want to look, just as an example, through my email. It's weird because okay, so like I know there's a message from a neighbor in my email that I haven't read that's a month or two old. No, it's within the last month. But it's probably nothing. It's probably stupid or whatever. All I know is that the preview starts that they're asking me a favor, and I'm thinking, what? I'm telling you, it's gonna be something dumb. I could sort of predict what I think it's gonna be, and it's something that we were both invited to a party at another neighbor's house. I bet it's about that or something, and so therefore it's not relevant now for me to read it. But so what's behind? Let's talk about. I'll talk about procrastination, not dealing with things, and I'll just call them all notifications, whether it's a bill or a friend or, I mean, for now I'll call them all notifications, which is like we know someone is trying to reach us, but it's up to us to decide whether or not to pay attention to what they've sent. And I'm thinking, because it's a removal from reality. Reality would be, which, listen, it doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying I want this, but reality would be someone coming to be with me in person. And then they could see I'm not well. This is where I'm at. And then that would be part of my communication. That would be relationship building. And everything beyond in-person relating is a media, an intermediary. And in the case of like an email from my neighbor, that starts with, could I ask you a favor? I just know like I don't have a daily relationship with him. I don't have a monthly relationship with him. I barely have a yearly relationship with him. So I feel like, I don't want that. And that's kind of a good way of looking at these things, because I was saying bills count as notifications. Well, bills are required to be paid. You do have a monthly relationship with them, or else something will go wrong. I talked about bills. What you just saw me go through was worrying about money, because I'm not okay, and I don't know the path. But I think this is good. Maybe I should somehow make a note on this one that this is potentially, or maybe I'll just be able to remember it. Wow, is that possible? Am I going to feel well enough to remember things again? What I'm saying is I think I cracked something right now about in-person relationships are community building, and anything that's removed from that, I mean, I say they're community building. They can be, let me rephrase, because, an in-person relationship, someone can slap you or kill you or whatever. It's funny that I think of killing because I watch programming in which killing happens all the time. It's another big thing I think about. It's so blurry. I have it muted because I don't know whether it's just painting sounds or me narrating the painting sounds. So it's probably some narration because it's a 13-minute long video. But yeah, that relates to what I'm talking about, which is producing content that's expected, which is not always like where you are. So, I mean, that's what what I want to hang my theories on is this idea that being present, being who you are with another person is builds community, builds relationships. I believe that. So I believe the solution to the world's problems is unconditional love. I've been reading some of the, terrible things going on in the United States under the Musk-Trump administration. But just saying that's depressing. But, but. And then I read, some of the reactions against it, which of course I'm completely in sympathy with. But I'm just this weirdo that knows that the way forward is unconditional love. So it's like, well, so how do you, unconditionally love the people who are hurting you? It's a great challenging question. It's in the flippin', Jesus book. But, or maybe a better question is the people who are hurting those you love, how do you protect not just yourself, but those you love, and also the principles that matter to you, I'm not ever saying that people should give up. It's just that my principles are centered in unconditional love. So it's like, how do I reconcile these things? Imagine the compossibilities. Current A, B. I usually say my back, but I think it's my hips that hurt the most. For one thing, when I talk about reaching out to others, I don't really mean the perpetrators. I mean, people should be tried for crimes, but somehow it's not a crime to vote for cruelty. I mean, it should be. It shouldn't even be allowed. There should be. It's like the conversation going forward shouldn't just be, how can we beat these horrible things by one vote? It should be, it is not a legitimate political system that allows this unqualified person to win. Or not just unqualified. I mean unqualified by the sake of being a felon. I know I'm not a political scientist. I know that that may not be good to write into law, because then you just like make your political opponents into felons. The real way, if I were to try to reform the United States, it would be to have fair voting, which we do not have, and it would be to have fair. Well, by fair voting, I also mean fair representation. So you wouldn't have situations where California and Wyoming are equivalent, and you wouldn't have people living in D.C. without the vote, and you wouldn't have territories like Puerto Rico. And honestly, Hawaii should be independent if they wish. So should Puerto Rico. So should Texas. That would be awesome, actually. But, oh my God, it'd be like the opposite of the Civil War. The opposite of Trump's ambitions. It would be like, I don't know. It's not funny. I'm tired. So I started off by talking about the conditions that are placed on relationships by interacting through social media, through other media, and in person. That there are conditions placed on relationships, and I advocate as much as possible, as much as you're comfortable with in each relationship, how much, can you push it towards unconditional? Because I think that's the most community building. And like the salvation for humanity would be to have unconditional love, respect for all humans. Unconditional love is the answer. Unconditional love is non-profit. Wow. Something about not enough red. Mm, I do. I think about the way attention works, and I think that is just the real key of being human. The ability to pay attention, the ability to extend attention. Um, Language multiplies. Well, writing, pictographs, language, talking, words, but yeah, language, encoding things into. Uh, this will be the logo next, probably, maybe. I wonder. I mean, it looks pretty done, right? Or is it a cliffhanger? It's so hard to tell. That's why I don't really think these videos offer that much. Now, if I did it in a way, God, I'm still painting. Oh my God, so boring. If I if I did it in a way, I'm glad I said that. If I did it in a way that, well, yeah, it would take money. It would take production. Like if there were a camera close on the canvas and I was really just editing scene to scene to scene, and there was music or the sound of, I mean, the sound of the brush on the thingamabobber is good, but but does anything matter? Not when you're making this kind of art. Or it does, people will be like, your composition, your way with color. Okay. Whatever you say. This is why I can't succeed. Well, I mean, so many good reasons not to. I feel like putting my knees up. Now you got artist versus art. All right. So I've got the camera in my hand. So I'm not even painting like with both hands. What a piece of shit. No, I think it looks really good, actually. I think I took it to my mom's. I think it's coming up on the end, and I'm going to end it when it comes to the end.